Welcome to the Myself Wellness Podcast. I'm Charles Patti, the voice of Myself Wellness, along with my co-hosts Christina Thomas and Jamie Veneziale. 9 years ago, I began my journey to self-awareness and healing. Like many who have faced personal struggles, I felt lost and struggled to find lasting healing. It wasn't until I discovered alternative healing methods that I began to see a real change in my life. This show will help you unlock your true potential through healthy lifestyle practices and transformations. Join us as we explore personal stories, expert advice, and practical tips to help you step into your true potential and level up. Welcome to the Myself Wellness Podcast.
Welcome back to the Myself Wellness Podcast. This is our last episode of the year. It's just going to be a solo episode with us, and we're going to go over why and how 2025 will be the best year of your life. Welcome back.
I think it's interesting, right? Because most people, when they get to the end of the year, it is the least amount of sunlight that we get all year. It is the time where you're either reminded of how much you have or reminded of how much you lack, depending on the situation. And for a lot of people, I think it's one of the hardest times of the year to be with yourself, like actually be like, whether it be sobriety or, not leaning into vices. It feels like Thanksgiving, Christmas is like the abundant time of vices. So I think this episode's going to be great to kind of help people not only get through this holiday season, but then prepare themselves for what 2025 is going to look like. Charles, what was holidays like before you got sober?
Lots of drinking, lots of partying, and I would spend time with family, but I wasn't present. And I think that that's one thing that's really changed about my life now, except for when I'm working on the phone and I get yelled at about that every once.
Scrolling.
Or scrolling.
But that's what it calls working.
Yeah. But, I think that being present is definitely a big improvement on my holiday season, and not waking up with hangovers and things like that. So, that's a big difference.
Yeah. What do you think attributes to most people's holiday vice kind of, like you guys talk to plenty of people that are having the best holiday season ever or the worst holiday season ever. What do you think some of the common denominators are?
I think that there's a lot of pressure around the holidays, for people. I think that everybody's concerned about making sure that they get everybody all of the gifts that they need. And then a lot of times, even Ram Dass had this thing where he would say, he's like, people think they're really enlightened until the holidays come around and you have to go back and spend time with your family. Because if there's anybody that can trigger you, it's them. Yeah. And so, a lot of people might be triggered or, have family members say something to them that doesn't resonate with them or makes them feel bad. And then people overconsume to kind of block that.
I think that there's a lot of loss too. And people get really sad around that time of year when they're supposed to be with a loved one that is no longer here.
Yeah.
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 I think it's hard because, like I said earlier, it's to either be reminded of what you have or what you lack. So some people, they see these holiday shows and they're like, well, where's my happy family? Yeah. And then if you have that happy family, how many times have we gone to like family gatherings and they turn out to be not so peaceful because so-and-so has this political affiliation or so-and-so is starting this business and Aunt Jeannie doesn't know why they're starting the business, and then it turns into this whole
plus alcohol.
Yeah, exactly. Plus alcohol, plus a bunch of sweets and stuff like that. It's interesting because people bring maybe their New Year's resolutions to the Christmas table, and that is literally the place where it begins and dies because they say, "Hey, I want to start a business, guys." And you have Aunt Jeannie and Uncle Joe being like, what, are you crazy? We've never done that. You can't break our generational patterns. No, they're not saying that verbatim, but that's what they're kind of forcing on you. Charles, I'd be interested, how did you manage that with your family, being that you guys started Myself, and from both of you guys talking about it, it wasn't the best resounding congratulations from the fam?
I learned a lot from talking about things that we were going to do with other people. And one of the biggest lessons that I took away from it is don't talk about it. Just do it. Actions speak louder than words. And if you don't talk about things too much, people can't put it down or knock it down or put doubt in your head. And so even when
That's not how it was, though.
no, it's not how it was, but it's more of like how it is in my life now.
Yeah.
Like I do my best not to talk about things, and if I do talk about things with people, I really have to ask myself, should I even bring this up? And I'm very mindful about that. Also, I think that like when it comes to resolutions, just put them into action. And I would suggest not waiting till the first of the year either. Like I've been working on something for the last couple months that most people put off until the first of the year, and put that ball in motion. And like, I think that if it's not something that you're starting because it's a New Year's resolution, and it's more like, hey, this is going to become my lifestyle now. This is just something that I'm implementing now, and I'm going to continue doing it, and I'm going to roll with it. I think you're probably going to have a much greater success.
What was the conversations at dinner like when you're trying to convince people that you're doing something and starting something and they don't fully believe in it?
Well, they either tune you out or they shit all over it. So it really only goes one of two ways, and searching for that validation from others, which is one of my New Year's resolutions. I'm done searching for validation of others. I'm done searching for everybody else's approval, because I don't need their approval. I don't need people to like me. If they're going to like me, they're going to like me, whether I have a nice ring on my finger or I don't. Like, haters are going to hate you no matter what, and people are going to say spiteful things to you no matter what, but it's my job not to internalize that anymore and take that. Like, I would let that affect me so much if somebody didn't like me, but now I'm done, because I've found my worth, and I'm going to live in my truth.
That's I think really important. I want to touch on what you said about the lifestyle change, because everybody's like, all right, what are my resolutions for this new year? What am I going to try to be the best at this year? And I think it's like, if you're waiting until Jan 1, I can promise you nothing drastic you're not going to go to bed on the New Year's Eve and wake up New Year's Day and there's going to be some magical life change that's going to make it easier for you to stick to your goals and your habits. Like, that's not really how this works. What I like about what you're talking about, it's this momentum thing. It's an identity thing, and it's a momentum thing. The second I identify as I am this person, my actions have to follow to then give myself the evidence that I am this person. You can't lie to yourself and say I am somebody and then not back it up with hard evidence. But I think what you're saying is most people need to bring their goals to people to identify whether it's good for them. Okay, I want to be good at this. What do you think? Well, you have a whole different perspective on life, on goal setting than I do. You're not going to know if this is the best goal for me this year. Only I'm going to know that. But we want to hear 3 yeses from all these different people. And the second we hear that third yes, we're all in, we're focused on it. But the second somebody gives you is that
You doubt yourself.
Is that going to affect who you are as an identity? I don't understand it. Charles, how has it been on your end?
Well, like, one thing I want to talk about with this is, I'm not a scientist, but I've heard scientifically that when you talk about your goals and you get that positive reinforcement from people, get the response that you're looking for, it hits that reward system in your brain where it makes you feel really good, like a dopamine rush. And so you actually have less of a chance of accomplishing those things if you sit there and tell people about it and they give you the kudos that you're looking for.
Like, great idea, dude. That's so cool.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, okay, so you get that good feeling, and now you're not so like enticed to go after that goal or dream or whatever. And so, like, I don't know. I really feel that where I'm at now is like, I do mostly wanting to listen to other people's stuff and just not talk about mine so much, because I notice that if I talk about things too much, that's the kind of thing that happens with me.
I feel like when you talk about something too much, you're giving the power away to somebody else.
Yeah.
You're also wasting valuable energy that could be going into doing. Interesting what you're talking about talking to people about your goals and not giving your brain the same trigger as actually achieving the goal. I actually am reading Psycho-Cybernetics, which is like this whole book about the science of success. And it talks about visualization being one of the key ways to actually create and change your identity. So an imagined accomplishment feels the exact same from a neurological perspective as actually doing something. So what you're talking about, Charles, talking about it to other people, you're opening yourself up for a lot of different potential people to throw their visualization of that goal onto yours. But at the end of the day, only you know what that goal will do for you. So a practice that I've started doing, let's say I have a goal, micro or macro, doesn't matter. It could be a 10-year goal, or it could be literally, how do I want this podcast to go? I will sit there 5-10 minutes and visualize it in my head, verbatim. How does it feel? What does it look like? And then what the book talks about is then you start creating the identity of how would a person that has already achieved this goal act? And then you start backfilling your actions to basically say, this is a reality I want. This is exactly what it looks like. I'm just going to do the actions that it takes to actually attract that. And then if you can focus on that, what the book says, focusing on that allows you then to not over stress the how, like how do we get here? How do we achieve this? That how actually contracts us, but just visualizing it as if it already is here, apparently brings it towards us. I'd be interested to get your take.
Surrendering to it and letting and believing and not believing, but knowing that it's already coming your way, and how it's coming your way doesn't matter because it's already happened. It's like, I actually had this conversation with Christina the other day about, like, I already know where we're going. I've already seen it. It's already all played out. And so, like, all of the curveballs that get thrown at us from now on, I'm literally not going to get bent out of shape over them at all, because I already know that we succeed. So like those are actually obsolete now. And like with what you're talking about, visualization and feeling it, like seeing it, knowing that it's there, picturing it in your head. Even like when they talk about like manifesting something into your life, what you want, like what car you want to drive, like picture yourself driving the car. If you can find that car and get behind the wheel of it and sit in the seat and like rev the engine, or mentally rev the engine in your head, it's like these things actually start putting this into motion, because manifestation is a very real thing. And so I believe in this stuff 100%.
Because I think by being able to picture, you're able to understand, again, like we're talking about, what does the identity of that person look like? What are my current deficits in order to get there? Because talking about your goal, you get too much outside information that messes things up. Like somebody will hear this and go, well, visualization is so unproductive. Why aren't you just doing? And I'm like, all right, so take it like this. Imagine you're scrolling on your phone and you're watching all these other people live their dream. And what it does is, if you want to talk about like the energies that produces, when you're watching a bunch of other people live their dream, creates jealousy.
Puts the evil eye on you.
It creates insecurity. It creates all of these lower vibrational frequencies that literally make it harder for you to then attract what you're looking for. Yet, if you just take that 5 to 10 minutes that you're going to scroll and watch other people achieve their dreams and just play a movie in your head of what your dream looks like,
yeah,
it's the same time. I'm not asking you to, carve out 50, an hour a day just to sit there and visualize. It's just replace 5 to 10 minutes of scrolling with 5 to 10 minutes of visualizing. I think it'll do a lot of good.
I think that's a really good suggestion. But what I also believe is that if you are scrolling and you see somebody living that life, just know that that's you.
And put forth the action to get there.
Pretend like the picture of the person that you're watching, living that dream life that you are watching, stick yourself in that video, because it is you. It's already all happened. Like Andrew Tate kind of talks about that, where it's like, I saw other people living this life that I wanted. They were driving these amazing cars. And I'm like, why don't I have that car? And then you can start to put the puzzle together of how you become the person that can manifest that car. Because it's like with what you're talking about right now, I can't get the car until I'm that person, or I can't have that job, or I can't live that dream life until I'm that person. So it's the self-work that you put into all of these things to become the person that is ready to get those kind of things. That's how we manifest.
But you can't just sit there on your couch and say, oh, poor me, because they're living this life that I want. Well, you got to put forth the action to actually get there. If you don't work and you don't check off your goals and you don't check off your list, then you're never going to get there. And you're just going to live in this pool of sadness and doubt when you have all the power that you need in order to get there, you know?
I 100% agree with that. But one thing that I'm really adamant and passionate about when it comes to this subject is that self-improvement is the way to get these things. Mm-hmm. Everybody thinks I'm going to go out, like I can go out right now the way that I am if I'm not in a good place, or if I'm depressed, or if I'm not eating healthy and living a healthy lifestyle, and I'm just going to go out and get these things. It all starts here. And so it's like not going out and getting them. The first thing that we need to address is leveling ourselves up to get those things.
You will only get what you believe you deserve.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of the situation. And if you don't believe in your heart of hearts that you deserve something, and again, people, you can't trick yourself. You can't sit there and eat Cheetos all day and be like, I deserve a six-pack. It's like, that's not how this shit works. But if you actually sit there and you say, okay, what does this look like? I remember a story of when this first came into my life. I had stayed in Naples Park for the first time. Naples Park is a beautiful neighborhood. And I walked all up and down the different roads with these massive houses right on the water. And I was like, it was the first time I did not say, that must be nice. That was not the first thing in my head. I said, how do I? How? I just genuinely asked the question, what does it look like to achieve something like that? Well, if they have a $20 million house on the water, chances are they got, a couple, maybe $100 million or whatever, that you basically just start reverse engineering the how, and then you set your definite chief aim. I've found that if it's a surrounding money or something like that, it's not necessarily as grabbing as like, I want to help this many people or whatever it is. Set that goal. Now the how just starts to work itself out over time and action and energy.
Yeah, no, 100%. Going back, it's like going back to the self-improvement stuff. That's how we're going to achieve these things. No matter what your goals are, I really believe it. Like, it's like, because my outer world is going to be a direct reflection of my inner world. And so it's like, first you need to get inner world, like mental health, get all of that in alignment, get that properly set up. After that, then all of a sudden now I need to start to take care of myself physically, because, first it's mental, then it's physical. And then once I'm feeling really good inside, looking really good on the outside, then all of a sudden now that confidence factor, I'm leveling up to the person that not just deserves, but has put in all of the work to get that $20 million house on the water.
Exactly. Who are you now, and who is the person that you want to become, and how do you just shorten that gap from who you are to who you want to be? Let's talk about how people in the clinic, because people are obviously coming in. Why would something like a ketamine therapy be perfect for somebody that is looking to shake up their identity? Why is, if somebody's sitting, listening to this and they're like, man, I'm on the fence. I love what Charles and Christina do, but I'm scared. I don't know if I deserve. Explain the why. Why should they participate in something like this with My Self Wellness?
Well, we're all energetic beings, and we all hold on to energy, whether it is new energy or old energy from a different life. We all have things inside us, around us, that hold us back. And through the process of ketamine therapy, it helps you to just let go of it. I had somebody that told me the things that her husband would do used to feel like a mountain landed on her and she didn't know how to crawl out of that mountain. But now, after her treatments, it's like a little fly lands on her leg and she just shoos it off. It no longer affects her the way that it used to. So we're able to just let go of all of these strings that are holding us back to become the best version of ourselves.
With what Christina was saying about the strings that are holding us back and breaking them, I really feel like these treatments break the internal narrative that you've been giving yourself. Like, this is who I am, and this is my identity, and this is what I'm, and it's like, no, like I'm not that person. It's funny because like you can twist what I'm about to say, but like it's really my belief now. In a way, we're all just a bunch of actors. Like it's like when you realize your connection to divinity and the oneness of everything, it's like I'm just acting like I'm Charles, like I'm acting like I'm living this life or whatever. Operating in a ketamine facility and all of this kind of stuff where it's like we have these limiting beliefs because we think we're something separate from the divine, when in actuality, once you tap into these higher states of consciousness and realize that we're all one and we're all a part of it and we're all it, that limitations are just something that we place upon ourselves.
I actually wanted to, I think ketamine gives you short-term memory loss. And I'll tell you why. I was this person that held on to all these strings, right? Anytime, I was talking to one of my buddies about this. Anytime to this point, what got me here was an energy that I would call a dark arts energy. It was one of you guys saying, I don't know about that. If I said something to you, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I don't know about that. That I don't know about stored right here at the front of my brain. And every time I'm trying to achieve that goal, I'm thinking about, well, Charles said, I don't know about that. And I would take everything personally, right? Because I wanted to build this narrative in my head, this chip on my shoulder. This is why, and I'm going to go achieve X, Y, and Z. What ketamine allowed me to do, believe it or not, is release all that. And you would think that would then decrease my motivation, that would decrease my drive. Quite the opposite. It's like going from burning carbohydrates to burning fat. I just changed the energy source in which I'm providing my body energy, and it comes from love, it comes from gratitude, it comes from appreciation. Somebody says, I don't know about that. I say, I love you anyways. And I'm just going to go do it. And I'm not going to hold on to it. I'm going to forget the conversation even happened. But that's what I think it does, is it allows you to not only let go of those long-term narratives that you've held since you were a child, that this is what I deserve and this is what I'm allowed to have in this world. But on a short term, those little things that used to just totally derail your day, those little things that would totally drag your energy down, they're kind of just disbanded. At least that's what I've seen.
I noticed that like now I operate out of love, even love for myself rather than hate for myself. It's kind of like what you were talking about, where like I used to go to the gym and train to like beat myself up. Like I'm gonna beat myself up to get into the best shape ever because I deserve to get beat up because I let myself get to almost 300 pounds. And so it's like I wasn't loving myself into fitness. I was hating myself into fitness. And now when I go to the gym, I do it because I love myself and I want to become the best version of myself. It's like completely different. Like I won't overtrain the way that I used to because I thought that if I killed myself in the gym like that, that it was something that like I needed to do to beat myself up. And I think that that's like that big shift where it's like ketamine and the treatments will shift you from that place where you're coming from a more energetically loving place, not only to do better things for yourself, but to do better things for other people, to do better at work, to do all of those things, not because I'm punishing myself and I deserve this, but more like I deserve the best life possible and I'm going to get myself there from a loving energy.
It's this, you can't love others until you start to love yourself. You actually it's physically impossible. What I noticed pre and after ketamine was before I had this thing where anybody that drank, partied, whatever, the identity that I was trying to distance myself from when I was that person, I would have such a judgmental view of people that perform those actions. I thought it was because, I'm morally superior and I do this better and whatever. What I come to find out, through self-discovery and through the treatments is that is the only reason I hold those feelings of judgment is because I hated that version of myself. So I couldn't accept other people to be in that because I saw myself and I hated that version of myself. So I tried to push it away. I tried to stuff it away. Come to find out, once you start to love yourself more, where I accept that phase of my life, I'm like, no, that was okay. That was a part of my journey. I'm now able to transition into anybody that I see at any phase of their life. I'm able to love them as they are instead of want them to be somebody different because I myself can't accept myself for who I used to be.
You know, it's funny. I was in the mall not long ago and there was this guy walking past me and he had his pants hanging down halfway off his butt and he was being really loud and obnoxious and, you know, speaking like, you know, in street dialogue basically or whatever. And it like stirred something up in me where I was just like, oh God, this guy's an idiot, right? And the truth is I was like, holy crap, that's you. That's like you like 10, 15 years ago, bro. Look at how far you've come now. And so it's like, even when we had Banks on the podcast, when he was talking about like everybody's a reflection of your past or future self, basically, like the guy with the billionaire with the $100 million house or whatever and stuff. And it's like, you know, you get invited to a party and you walk into a house like that or whatever, instead of going to that jealous place where it's just like, oh man, this version of me has this already. So I'm on my way there. I just got to keep leveling up. And now it's like, when I see a person like that, it's like, this is why it's so important not to move backwards in your journey, Charles, because look at how far you've come and look at where you used to be. And it's not judgment. Like, it's not judgment. That guy was exactly where he was supposed to be. And the reason that it did do that internal thing with me is because it was supposed to show me how much growth has occurred in my own personal life. And that's where it goes back to that whole observe without judgment and remember that the answer is always love, is because when we are mirrors of each other, that's just a reflection of who you used to or who you're going to be.
And I think if you want to understand how to have the best 2025 possible, I think it comes down to your own personal identity of yourself, but also when you do run into those moments of something that maybe is working quote unquote against you. I don't think anything works against you, but let's say something unforeseen
Working
comes
for
up.
you.
Yeah, something unforeseen comes and hits you in the mouth. You will either allow that when it comes in to be for your benefit or for your downfall. And it literally is how it lives up here. So whether something is happening for you or against you is literally just how it lives up here. If you're
okay to be stuck in it, but not for too long. You need to learn how to flip the script and not be stuck in it anymore and celebrate the small wins. Because what I see on a daily basis is people are like, oh, well, I am not profoundly different. I'm like, yeah, but you told me you're not drinking anymore. You told me you're going for a run in the morning now. You told me you told me that your kid isn't affecting you and you aren't getting so mad. Like, celebrate the small wins, because all of those small wins add up to be something monumental.
Yeah.
I think I wrote this. It's like progress shows up in the most. Basically, progress never really shows on a day-to-day. Like, you never feel unbelievably different in your day-to-day. Just one day, something lucky pops up and you're able to act on that opportunity because of all the progress you made. So for an example is if somebody came to you, Charles, 5, 6, 7 years ago and needed help getting brought to a lighter point in life, if it wasn't for the progress that you've made over the last 7 years, you wouldn't be able to be in a position to help them. They'd probably be your drinking buddy or your whatever buddy 7, 8 years ago. So it's this idea of the progress that we don't see on the day-to-day ends up showing up in the most luckiest views few months, few years down the road.
So it's funny because a picture had popped up on like memories basically, and it was a couple years ago. And I don't literally feel any different than I did a couple years ago. Like, I felt like I was in the same place basically. And it was me, Christina, and Jessica, one of our nurses. And we all look like completely different people. We all like have leveled up so much since then. And I sent it to all like everybody in the group text. And I'm like, look at us. I'm like, look at how far we've come. But I don't feel like different. You know what I'm saying? But it's these micro advancements on a daily basis that add up over a long time.
It's the compound effect.
It's the compound effect. And I think that that's one thing for 2025 that I want to tell people is that just keep showing up. keep being consistent over and over and over again. Repetition, show up. You don't feel any different. You don't feel like you're making any progress. And you just continually do that every single day. And then at the end of 2025, you'll have a recap and you'll look back and you won't feel any different. And you'll be like, oh my gosh, look how far I've come. Look at how much I've grown. But you won't realize it through the process.
That's so true. So kind of to put a bow on this, I'd like for us all to go around and talk about what our goals in 2025 are, starting with you, Charles.
So recently I embarked on getting even more fit and wellness journey. And I went and saw my buddy Jeff Delaney at New Viva and T Clinics USA. And I'm not really going on like any of the supplements per se, but he put me on a really fine-tuned diet that I've been doing. And I have taken one of his peptides and a small dose for gut health, BP 157. And basically what I'm doing is I am going to become the best physical peak performance in my life that I've ever been. Like I will shred, I will have abs sometime in 2025. They're starting to come in, but like I've already embarked on it, and it's not just a new fad diet or whatever that I've started doing. Like I'm just going to continue to do this for the rest of my life because I actually feel much better now than I did eating the stuff that I was eating before. So yeah, my mental wellness is in a good place, but my physical wellness is going to get peak top performance.
What about you, Christina?
Well, I kind of already touched on it, right? So I have already started as well, and I'm just in a new place where things and people aren't going to affect me. I'm not going to allow them to rob me of my energy, and I'm not going to give them that energy, because that's what I'm doing. When I let people affect me, I am giving them my energy, and I am no longer going to do that. I am going to be unapologetically me and no longer let anybody else affect me and my feelings and my viewpoint of how I view myself, and let their view of me affect me, because that's not fair.
I like that. For myself, I have a little sheet, like a manifestation thing in my phone that I look at every day. The one that I'll talk about on here is the idea that I want to be a well that never runs dry of opportunity for people that I can help. So why that is a specific goal for me is because I love creating. Like I believe I was born to create, and you can create in a lot of different in a lot of different ways. And the way that I feel like I really love creating is creating opportunity, whether it be a job for somebody, whether it be, the projects that we get to work on together. But I want to be able to help provide opportunities, not for everybody, because like you guys know, you can't really help everybody, but for the people that I can help, I want to create opportunities for them. So that is the type of person I am trying to transform into, is the person that can be a never dry well of opportunity for people that I can help.
I love that. Yeah, me too. Just keep leveling up.
Let's go, guys.
It's all about the level up, right?
And always keep your well full.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
100%.
So if you heard this episode and you go, all right, this ketamine therapy, I want to try it out, you guys can reach out to
myselfwellness.com or 239-908-9958. Give us a call. Let us help you on your healing journey. Transformation can start now. Don't wait till the new year.
Yeah.
Our biggest complaint, is why didn't I start sooner?
100%.
And let that be the mantra for your 2025. Why didn't I start sooner?
The time is now.
Yeah. If anything, in 2025, the procrastination needs to end. And if you want to do something with yourself, or if you want to advance or better yourself, take action immediately, because there's no better time than now.
Nope.
And that is the end of another My Self Wellness episode. If you guys enjoyed, please be sure to like, subscribe, comment your goal for 2025. And if nobody told you that they love you,
we do.